My beloved, draw near and listen with your heart, because this moment is not an accident and these words are not reaching you by chance. I am speaking to you now, gently and firmly, beyond noise and fear, beyond doubt and exhaustion, beyond everything that has weighed on your soul for so long. I know how tired you are, even when you try to hide it. I know how many times you smiled while your heart was breaking. How many nights you lay awake replaying worries that seem to have no solution. How often you ask yourself if things would ever truly change. I see the weight you have been carrying, burdens you were never meant to hold alone, expectations placed on you by others and by yourself, wounds formed by disappointment, rejection, and silence. But hear this clearly, your struggle is not eternal, and your pain does not define your future. I am with you now, closer than your breath, steadying your thoughts, calming your emotions, restoring what has been shaken. You do not have to fight this season by your own strength anymore. I am taking from your hands what has drained you, what has made you feel small, what has convinced you the hope is dangerous. Let yourself rest in this truth. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked your prayers, and I have not delayed my answer out of neglect. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was working in ways you could not see, aligning moments, softening paths, protecting you from outcomes you never knew were coming. The silence you experienced was not abandonment. It was preparation. The waiting was not punishment. It was refinement. I was strengthening your spirit quietly, teaching your heart endurance, building depth within you that shallow seasons could never create. You are not behind in life. You are not late, and you are not disqualified. Everything you have lived through is being woven into wisdom, compassion, and authority that will soon make sense to you. I am breathing peace into your mind now, washing away anxious thoughts that loop without mercy, dissolving fear that has whispered lies about your worth and your destiny. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed, and you are not failing because you needed rest. You are human, and I am your God, and this is where your strength truly comes from. Lift your eyes inwardly and see that something is already shifting. That tightness in your chest is loosening. That heaviness is beginning to lift. That quiet hope you thought was gone is flickering again. Do not push it away. Allow it to grow. I am restoring your ability to trust, not recklessly, but wisely and securely, rooted in truth rather than fear. I am reminding you that you were created with purpose, intention, and value that no season of loss can erase. You are not defined by what went wrong, by what you lost, or by who walked away. You are defined by my love for you, which has never changed and never will. Even now, as you read these words, I am steadying your heart for what is coming next, because a new chapter is opening and it requires clarity, courage, and faith renewed. Stay here with me. Do not rush this moment. Let these words settle deeply, because they are preparing you for the transformation that is already unfolding within you. I remain with you in this unfolding because what you are becoming requires patience, depth, and truth spoken gently but firmly into your spirit. You are not only healing from what hurt you, you are unlearning patterns that once kept you safe but now keep you small. I see how your mind learned to anticipate disappointment, how your heart learned to brace itself before every good moment, how you trained yourself to expect loss even when blessing appeared. Those habits were formed in seasons when you had to protect yourself, when uncertainty surrounded you, when consistency was rare, but they are no longer necessary. You are entering a season where trust is not naive, it is wise, and hope is not dangerous. It is essential. I am teaching you how to live without constantly scanning the horizon for threats, how to rest without waiting for something to go wrong, how to enjoy the present without mentally preparing for its end. This is a deeper level of healing, one that reaches beneath emotion and touches belief. Many people change their circumstances but never change their expectations, and so they carry old fears into new seasons. I am not allowing that for you. I am renewing the way you interpret life itself. You are learning to respond rather than react, to pause rather than panic, to listen rather than assume. This maturity is forming quietly, through moments when you chose calm over chaos, reflection over impulsiveness, faith over fear. You may not always recognize it as growth, but it is reshaping you steadily. I am also revealing to you that strength does not always look like persistence. Sometimes strength looks like release, like knowing when to walk away, like trusting that not everything needs your intervention. You do not have to prove your value by overextending yourself, by carrying others at the expense of your own peace, by staying in situations that drain your spirit. I am giving you permission to choose what nourishes you, to prioritize what aligns with your calling, to step back from what diminishes you without guilt or explanation. This discernment will protect you in ways force never could. You are also beginning to understand that your worth is not transactional. You are valuable even when you are resting, even when you are quiet, even when you are not producing visible results. Your existence alone matters to me. I did not create you to be consumed by endless effort, but to live with purpose, awareness, and connection. As this truth settles, you will feel less urgency to compare your path with others. You will stop measuring your progress against timelines that were never meant for you. Your journey is unique, not because it is slower or faster, but because it is intentional. I am guiding you according to what your spirit needs, not what external pressure demands. There will be moments ahead when clarity arrives suddenly, when decisions that once felt overwhelming become simple, when doors close without pain because you finally understand why they needed to. You will not feel the need to force outcomes anymore. You will recognize when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when silence carries more power. This is authority born from alignment, not control. I am also preparing you to carry influence, even if you do not yet see it. The way you live, the way you respond, the way you choose integrity over convenience will impact others more than you realize. You are becoming a safe presence, someone whose steadiness brings calm, whose words carry weight because they are grounded in truth. This is not something you have to strive for. It is emerging naturally as you heal. Stay attentive to what is unfolding within you. Do not rush this transformation. It is laying the groundwork for what comes next, and what comes next will require exactly who you are becoming now. As this unfolding continues, I want you to recognize that what feels slow to you is often where the deepest work is happening. Transformation that lasts is rarely loud or dramatic. It settles quietly, reshaping your inner landscape until one day you realize you are responding differently, thinking differently, living differently without forcing yourself to change. I am cultivating patience within you, not passive waiting, but grounded patience that trusts timing without losing momentum. You are learning how to remain present even when answers are incomplete, how to move forward without demanding certainty at every step. This capacity will serve you well, because the path ahead will sometimes ask you to walk by clarity of purpose rather than clarity of outcome. I am strengthening your intuition, that subtle inner knowing that guides you away from what is harmful and toward what is aligned. You may have ignored it in the past out of fear, obligation, or the desire to please others, but now you are learning to listen without second-guessing yourself. This discernment is not pride, it is wisdom earned through experience. I am also healing your relationship with uncertainty, teaching you that not knowing does not mean being unsafe. Life will not always unfold according to your expectations, but it will unfold according to intention. You do not need to control every variable to be secure. Your security comes from alignment, from knowing who you are and why you are here. As you release the need to manage every outcome, you will feel a new freedom emerging, a lightness that allows you to engage life without constant tension. I am inviting you to trust that I am present not only in outcomes but in process. Not only in breakthroughs but in transitions. The in-between seasons, the moments that feel undefined, are often where your character is refined and your vision clarified. You are also learning to forgive yourself for past choices made from limited understanding. Shame has tried to convince you that your mistakes disqualify you, but I am reminding you that growth always involves learning, and learning often involves missteps. Your past does not discredit your future, it informs it. Every lesson you have gained is now becoming part of your wisdom, enabling you to navigate situations with greater compassion and clarity. I am removing the fear that tells you must be perfect to be worthy, that you must have everything figured out to move forward. You are allowed to evolve in real time, to adjust your direction as you gain insight, to change your mind without condemning yourself. This flexibility is strength, not weakness. I am also expanding your capacity for connection, teaching you how to engage with others without losing yourself. Healthy boundaries are forming within you, allowing you to give without depletion and receive without guilt. You no longer need to earn affection through overextension or silence your needs to maintain harmony. True connection does not require self-abandonment. As this understanding settles, your relationships will begin to shift naturally. Some will deepen, others will fade, not through conflict but through clarity. This is part of alignment, and it does not need to be feared. I am preparing you for a life that feels coherent, where your values, actions, and desires move in the same direction. This coherence brings peace, because you are no longer divided within yourself. When challenges arise, you will face them from a centered place rather than fragmentation. You will make decisions with steadiness rather than urgency, with wisdom rather than impulse. This is the fruit of the work happening now. Remain attentive, remain grounded, and trust that every step you are taking is leading you toward greater clarity, strength, and fulfillment. I want you to notice how your inner world is becoming quieter. Not empty, but clear, like water that has finally settled after being stirred for too long. This clarity is not something you forced. It emerged because you allowed yourself to stop resisting what needed to be seen. You were beginning to recognize patterns that once ruled you unconsciously, thoughts that repeated themselves until they felt like truth, emotions that seemed inevitable simply because they were familiar. Now you see them for what they are, learned responses rather than fixed realities. This awareness gives you choice, and choice gives you freedom. I am teaching you how to interrupt cycles that no longer serve you, how to pause before reacting, how to ask yourself what is truly needed in each moment rather than acting from habit.
This shift may feel subtle, but it is profound. It is the difference between living on autopilot and living with intention. You are also learning to trust stillness, to sit with your own thoughts without immediately needing distraction or validation. In this stillness, you are discovering that you are not as fragmented as you once believed. There is coherence forming within you, a sense of wholeness that does not depend on external circumstances. I am anchoring you in this internal stability so that when external conditions fluctuate, you are not shaken at your core.
This is resilience rooted in understanding, not endurance fueled by pressure. I am also addressing the way you have carried responsibility, often assuming that it was your role to fix, to rescue, to hold everything together. That weight shaped your identity for a long time, making you feel valuable only when you were needed, only when you were useful. But you are learning now that your worth is not measured by how much you carry for others. You are allowed to set things down. You are allowed to ask for support. You are allowed to let others manage their own journeys without feeling guilty. This release will not diminish you, it will restore you. As you loosen your grip on what was never yours to control, you will feel energy returning, creativity resurfacing, curiosity awakening. Parts of you that were dormant will begin to stir again, not because life suddenly became easier, but because you are no longer exhausting yourself in unnecessary battles. I am guiding you toward a life that feels sustainable, where effort is balanced with rest, where ambition is aligned with well-being, where growth does not come at the cost of peace. You are also becoming more comfortable with your own voice, expressing your thoughts and boundaries without over-explaining or apologizing for existing. This confidence is not loud or aggressive, it is calm and assured. It comes from knowing yourself and trusting your inner compass. When you speak from this place, your words will carry clarity rather than defensiveness, honesty rather than fear. People may respond differently to you as a result, some with respect, some with resistance, but you will no longer need their reaction to validate your truth. This independence of spirit is a significant milestone in your healing. I am also expanding your vision beyond immediate concerns, helping you see your life as a whole rather than as a series of isolated crises. When you step back, you can recognize how each season has contributed to your growth, how challenges have refined your priorities, how setbacks redirected you toward paths more aligned with who you are becoming. This perspective does not erase pain, but it integrates it into meaning. You are learning to own your experiences without being defined by them. As this understanding deepens, fear will lose its grip. Because fear thrives on narrow focus and imagined futures, you are learning to stay present, to engage with what is real rather than what might be. This presence will become one of your greatest strengths. It will allow you to respond thoughtfully, to savor moments of joyfully, and to navigate difficulties with composure. You are not being rushed into anything. Everything is unfolding in its time, and you're exactly where you need to be to continue becoming who you were always meant to be.
I know the questions that rise in you when everything grows quiet. The moments when you wonder if you have misunderstood my promises or if your faith somehow fell short. But listen carefully now, because doubt does not mean you are far from me. It only reveals how deeply you care and how much you desire truth. I am not intimidated by your questions, nor disappointed by your hesitation. I understand the language of a weary heart, and I respond not with condemnation but with reassurance. You have walked through seasons that tested your endurance, situations that required strength beyond what you thought you possessed, and yet you are still here, still breathing, still hoping, even if only faintly. That alone is evidence that I have been sustaining you all along. I have watched you stand when it would have been easier to give up. Choose kindness when bitterness would have felt justified. Remain faithful when no one else seemed to notice. None of that was wasted. Every unseen act, every silent prayer, every tear shed in solitude has been counted and held with care. I am drawing you into a deeper awareness now, one where you no longer measure your life by outcomes alone, but by growth, wisdom, and alignment with truth. I am teaching you that rest is not weakness, that stillness is not stagnation, and that surrender is not defeat. When you release control, you make room for clarity. When you stop striving, you allow peace to rise. I am untangling confusion from your thoughts, separating fear from reality, loosening the grip of past disappointments that have tried to define your expectations. You are learning again how to breathe freely, how to trust the process without needing to see every step ahead. The future does not need to be fully revealed for you to walk forward safely. I am guiding you moment by moment, and that is enough. I am also healing the way you see yourself, because for too long you have carried labels that were never mine to give. You are not broken beyond repair, not behind others in purpose, not invisible to my care. You are seen, known, and valued completely. I am restoring your confidence quietly, rebuilding your inner foundation so that what comes next does not shake you as easily as before. There will be opportunities that ask you to rise, doors that open unexpectedly, moments when you realize you are stronger and wiser than you once believed. When they come, you will recognize that this season of preparation was necessary. You will understand why I slowed you down, why I removed certain people, why some plans did not unfold as you hoped. Nothing was taken to harm you. Everything was redirected to protect and position you. I am also softening your heart where pain made it guarded, because I want you free, not closed off. You do not need to armor yourself against love or joy anymore. What is coming will not wound you the way the past did. Because you're not the same person you once were, I am with you in this becoming, steady and faithful, teaching you how to move forward without fear. Trust that I am leading you somewhere safe, somewhere meaningful, somewhere that will feel like home again to your soul. Stay attentive, stay open, and stay close, because this journey is far from over and the best is still unfolding. As you continue walking forward, I want you to understand that the changes happening within you are not fragile. They are rooted deeply, growing stronger even when you are not consciously aware of them. What once triggered fear in you will soon no longer have the same power. And situations that used to drain your energy will begin to feel manageable, even light. This is not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you are becoming anchored in truth rather than emotion. I am reshaping the way you respond, teaching your spirit to remain calm even when circumstances attempt to disturb your peace. You are learning discernment, the ability to recognize what deserves your attention and what must be released without guilt. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every opinion is meant to shape your identity. I am giving you permission to let go of what no longer serves your growth, including expectations that were placed on you by others and standards that were never aligned with your calling. You are allowed to grow at your own pace, to choose peace over performance, to value authenticity over approval. I am also restoring joy to you, not the fleeting kind that depends on circumstances, but a quiet, steady joy that flows from knowing who you are and whose you are. This joy will surprise you in simple moments, in silence, in laughter, in gratitude, in clarity. It will remind you that life is still beautiful and that your story is far from finished. I am opening your eyes to see opportunities where you once saw only limitations, to recognize strength where you once focused on weakness. The future will ask you to step into spaces that once intimidated you, but you will not enter them unprepared. I have already equipped you with wisdom gained through experience, compassion shaped by pain, and resilience formed through perseverance. You will speak with greater confidence, move with greater intention, and trust yourself more deeply because you have learned how to listen to my guidance within you. Do not fear the responsibility that comes with growth, because I will continue to walk beside you, correcting gently, supporting faithfully, and reminding you when you forget that you are not alone. There will be moments when you look back and realize how far you have come, and gratitude will replace regret. You will see that even your mistakes contributed to your understanding.
Even your delays protected you from harm. Even your losses created space for something greater. I am preparing you to receive without guilt and to give without depletion, to love without fear and to hope without restraint. What is ahead requires a heart that is both strong and soft. And that is exactly what I am shaping within you now. Stay grounded in this truth as you move forward, because the transformation taking place is real, and it is leading you toward a life that feels aligned, purposeful, and deeply fulfilling. I want you to carry this understanding with you as you move into what comes next, because there will be days when old thoughts attempt to return and familiar fears try to test what has been rebuilt. When that happens, remember this moment and remember my voice speaking peace into you now. You are no longer who you were in the season of survival. You are stepping into a season of intentional living, where your choices are guided by wisdom rather than reaction, by trust rather than anxiety. I am strengthening your ability to stand firm without becoming rigid, to remain compassionate without losing yourself, to move forward without constantly looking back. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone, and you do not need to rush your growth to meet someone else's timeline. Your life is unfolding according to a design that is both patient and precise. I am with you in the quiet mornings when you gather yourself for the day, and I am with you in the evenings when your thoughts begin to wander. I am present in decisions big and small, in conversations you prepare for and in moments that catch you by surprise. You are never navigating alone, even when it feels like no one else understands what you are carrying. I am teaching you to trust the steady voice within you, the one that brings clarity instead of confusion, calm instead of fear. That voice will guide you away from what drains you and toward what nourishes your spirit. There will be confirmations along the way, moments when you recognize that you are exactly where you need to be. Even if the path still feels uncertain, do not measure your progress by perfection, but by awareness, by peace, by the growing sense of alignment you feel inside. You are allowed to enjoy the present while still hoping for more. You are allowed to rest while still moving forward. Nothing about your life is wasted, and nothing about your future is out of reach. I am preparing connections that will support you, opportunities that will stretch you, and moments that will remind you why this journey mattered. When challenges come, you will face them with steadiness rather than panic, with faith rather than fear. When joy comes, you will receive it without suspicion, without waiting for it to disappear. This balance is part of your healing. This confidence is part of your restoration. I am not calling you to a life without difficulty, but to a life grounded in peace regardless of circumstances. Walk forward with courage, knowing that I am ahead of you and beside you, guiding each step with care. You are safe to hope again. You are ready to live fully. And as you continue, remember this truth above all others: you are deeply loved, intentionally guided, and never alone, now or ever. As you move deeper into this clarity, I want you to understand that what you're experiencing now is not a pause before life begins again. It is life itself unfolding in a more conscious way. Many people wait for a dramatic moment to feel changed, a clear dividing line between who they were and who they become. But true transformation is often quieter and more integrated. You are not leaving one life behind to start another. You are weaving wisdom into the life you already have. This integration is what allows you to move forward without fragmentation, without feeling like you must abandon parts of yourself to grow. I am teaching you how to honor who you have been while stepping confidently into who you are becoming. There is no need to reject your past or erase it from your story. Every version of you carried you forward, even the ones that were confused, afraid, or uncertain. They did the best they could with what they knew at the time. And now they are giving way to deeper understanding. This compassion toward yourself is not indulgence, it is healing. When you stop fighting your own history, you reclaim energy that can be used to create, to connect, and to live fully. I am also reshaping the way you perceive success. For a long time, success may have felt like approval, achievement, or relief from struggle. Now you are beginning to see it differently, as alignment, as peace, as the ability to live according to your values even when it is not the easiest path. This redefinition will free you from constant comparison and the pressure to perform. You will find satisfaction in progress rather than perfection, in consistency rather than intensity. This steady approach will sustain you far longer than bursts of effort driven by fear or urgency. I am also guiding you to recognize when something is complete, when a season has served its purpose and no longer needs to be prolonged. Letting go does not mean you failed, it means you listened. You are learning how to close chapters with gratitude rather than resentment, with understanding rather than regret. This ability will protect your peace and keep your heart open to what comes next. I am also strengthening your emotional resilience, not by numbing you to pain, but by grounding you in truth. You are learning that emotions are signals, not commands, information rather than identity. When sadness arises, you can acknowledge it without being consumed. When fear appears, you can observe it without obeying it. This emotional literacy gives you agency, allowing you to choose your response rather than being driven by reaction. I am teaching you how to sit with discomfort without immediately trying to escape it. Because discomfort often carries important insight. When you listen rather than resist, you learn what needs attention, adjustment, or release. This awareness will deepen your self-trust, because you will see that you are capable of navigating complex inner experiences without losing yourself. I am also expanding your capacity for hope, not as blind optimism, but as grounded expectation. Hope rooted in truth is resilient. It does not collapse when circumstances shift. It adapts, recalibrates, and continues forward. You are learning to hold hope without attaching it to a specific outcome, trusting that whatever unfolds will be integrated into your growth. This flexibility will keep you moving even when plans change or paths diverge. I am also preparing you for moments of greater responsibility and influence, where your choices will impact not only your own life but the lives of others. The work you are doing now is what makes that possible without overwhelming you. You are developing discernment, patience, and empathy, qualities that allow you to lead, support, and inspire without losing balance. You may not yet see how your experiences connect to this broader purpose, but they will become clear in time. For now, focus on staying present, staying honest, and staying aligned. Each step you take with awareness strengthens the foundation you are building. Trust that this process is intentional, that nothing is being wasted, and that you are moving steadily toward a life that feels authentic, grounded, and deeply meaningful.